Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to 5th grade social studies. I am Mr. Herring, and we will be continuing our unit of U.S. geography. And our second lesson is maps, learning the parts of maps and the types of maps. If you have not done so, you might want to download or open the notes page that goes with this lesson from the virtual learning folder. If you need a minute to do that, simply pause the video while you download that or get that ready. And then when you are ready to go, continue by hitting play. For those who are ready, we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. Okay, so let's talk about maps. Types of maps. When we're discussing maps, there are usually three types of maps that we use in 5th grade. The three types of maps are a physical map, a political map, and a thematic map. Again, these are the three most important maps that we use in 5th grade. There are many more, but we are going to focus on these three. In your notes page, this is the section that you should be filling in at this time. It tells you the three types of maps, and it goes in order, so you can just start filling in as we go. Types of maps. The physical map. A physical map shows the physical features of a place such as bodies of water and mountains. Physical features are shown in different colors. For example, blue is used for bodies of water, while elevation, how high a piece of land is illustrated by the following. Dark green indicates low elevation and turns lighter green as elevation rises, eventually into orange and then finally into brown, which shows a very high elevation. So as we go from low to high, it changes from a dark green into a brown. Here's an example of a physical map. If you look at in this physical map, you can notice the brown areas such as this part of the United States over here, or lower parts of Africa, and then a lot of high parts in Eurasia over here have a brown color, which shows they are high elevation. Okay. A second type of map is a political map. A political map shows imaginary boundary lines such as state and national borders. A political map may not show physical features, but may include important cities such as state and/or national capitals. Here is a great example of a political map. This is the most common political map that you guys will be looking at this year in U.S. history. This political map shows the states and the cities in that state. And you see all the borders around each state. Notice that Texas, with its very unique shape, its border, we border a country, Mexico, down here to our south, and we border New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So Texas is a very unique state because we have several different types of borders. The next type of map that we're going to discuss is a thematic map. Thematic is another long term for theme. A thematic map is a map which emphasizes a specific subject or theme. For example, thematic maps can help illustrate how one area is different from another, like rain or how many people live in the area or types of farming in each area. So some type of theme that you're looking for general information in a certain area. Here's an example of a thematic map. The annual tornado reports per 10,000 square miles. So if you look here, the white areas have very, very few tornadoes, but as it goes to yellow, it shows more, and then an orangish color, which is more, and as it gets darker, even greater. So looking at this map, which areas do you see the greatest number of tornadoes? Well, it is this area right here in the middle, which is affectionately known as Tornado Alley. They get a lot of tornadoes in those areas. You also notice there's some more up here in this little area, but the greatest number of tornadoes are concentrated in the middle of the United States. Again, a thematic map. A second example of a thematic map would be time zones of the U.S. If you look at our United States here, we have 4 distinct time zones. And Texas is so large it has 2 time zones. But they're not the only state that has multiple time zones. Florida has 2 time zones, as well as other states in the east and some other states up here in the middle section of the United States. These states have a couple of time zones. Again, the theme here is time zones of the United States. Now let's talk about the important parts of a map. So look at this next section of your notes page titled Important Parts of a Map. We are going to be looking at the very distinct pieces of maps, the things that give us information about that map. So important parts of a map, we have a scale. A scale tells us the relative distance between 2 places on a map, most generally measured in kilometers and miles, depending on where you are. Which unit of measure do we use in the United States? Kilometers or miles usually? Most often we use miles in the United States. In Europe, they use the metric system when they would use kilometers. Where are the scales on this map? If you look at this map here, the scales to this map is down here on the bottom. And it tells you this distance from here to here is about 300 miles. So if I measure that from this Louisiana to about right here, this part of Texas is about 300 miles. It's roughly. You could use a ruler to give you a very much more accurate measurement. Where is the legend on this map? This map, the legend is right here. It tells you the populations per square mile in certain regions. Again, the green areas have very little population, where the dark red areas have a greater population. If you look in Texas, where are the greater populations? Over here in the Houston area, here in the middle of San Antonio and Dallas areas, and way up here north. California, most of their populations are on the coast, which makes sense. People want to live by the coast. Much like Florida and this area over here, which is where the United States first started to settle, close to the coast. Again, this legend shows us populations. Next, we have something very valuable that you've learned in almost every grade level, the orientation or the compass rose. Orientation lets you know which way is north, south, east, and west on a map. A compass rose indicates orientation by showing which direction is north, south, east, and west. A compass arrow always points to the north. So if you have a compass, as a compass spins, it points north. Turn your compass to show the end pointing in the same direction as north, and that will tell you which way is west, south, and east. Next, we have latitude and longitude. These are the horizontal and vertical lines you see on maps. They're imaginary in the real world, but on a map, they give us very specific locations. Latitude is horizontal, which means they run side to side, When I think latitude, I think the word ladder. And a ladder has rungs that you climb which go side to side. They give you the north and south measurements. Longitude is vertical. They run up and down. They give us the east and west measurements. So latitude run this way, and they mark from north to south, from 0, and they get bigger as we go up, where longitude run up and down. They measure from east to west, and they get larger as they go in each direction. 0 latitude is the equator, where 0 longitude is the prime meridian. So this illustration shows what I just drew. Latitude, north and south, they measure north and south distances. And longitude, measure east and west. They are used to mark the absolute location of something, and they are very, very specific. For example, the coordinates of 38 and 8.8977 degrees north, latitude, and 77.0365 degrees west, longitude, mark the location of the White House. Notice how many numbers are behind the decimal. It's a very specific place. The military uses these coordinates to mark things as they travel. Remember tadpoles. This is very, very important. Not those kind of tadpoles, but tadpoles in your notes, this section, as we go through, write down the letters, the words that go with the coordinating letters. Tadpoles, T, A, D, poles. Titles, look for the title somewhere on the map. How does it describe the map? Type, what type of map it is, physical, political, or thematic. A, ask yourself, what does the title tell you about the map? What do you already know about the subject based on that title? Date, are there dates on the map? What do you know about that time period? Distance, is the map showing a large area or a small area? Place, is a map showing the world, a continent, a state, city, or region? Orientation, which way is north on the map? Is there a compass rose? L is for legend or key. What does the legend show? Are there symbols? E, the equator. Can you see the equator? Are there latitude and longitude lines that might help you? And S is the scale. Is there a scale? How many miles does it measure? And is the map showing a large area, small scale, or a small area, a large scale? If you did not get all of your blanks filled in, feel free to go back and rewatch the video to make sure you don't miss anything. And then when you're ready, you may open up your assignment and start your parts of a map assignment. Good luck, and if you need any help, make sure you attend the Zoom meetings for questions.